All right. Good evening, everyone. Sorry for the late start. Was having a little bit of technical issues. Didn't want to start the class with buffering, so I solved it before even starting. How's everybody doing today? How has the markets been for you? And let's make sure the audio and video is looking good. Slow markets? Yes. That's why we titled it Slow Markets, right? Garbage, great. Mixed, good. What are you saying, Coach? Hope you good. Did you enjoy the video you watched earlier? Good, beat me. Got wrecked today. Choppy, slow, good. I get all my advice from whenever I Google something. It usually goes to YouTube, and I try and search for it, and it's YouTube is an interesting place. Let's get down to business. Made a $10,000 payout today. Great job, trader. Got wrecked. It was, today shouldn't have surprised anybody. Let's get to it. Give me just a moment. I'll get a few things set up on my end, and I'll go over. It shouldn't have surprised anybody, to be honest. If it did, shame on you, right? Price action was wild today. It was a mess. It was very choppy. I'm trying to get a few things set up. Like I said, I'm running just a few minutes behind. Let's see if I could find that Topstep risk disclosure. Let's see. And there it is. Okay, well, let's get started. Welcome, everybody. I'm Coach Dakota, Coach DBA. As always, in the YouTube chat, there is our Topstep risk disclosure. Everything I say and talk about is for educational purposes only. As always, you guys could see the charts. It's pretty clean, pretty clear. Let me zoom in a moment so you guys could see it a little bit better. One thing I'm watching going into tonight, we have 100 contracts sitting at 370. Not much, not as crazy as last night, but I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. Let's dive into some very simple, straightforward technical analysis. So on the daily, I posted this. I did post it. Remember what we were talking about last night? There's this very clean, very straightforward. This was a very interesting level. This gap that we've seen it's been there for a little over a week. We got there. That should not have came to a surprise. Maybe the speed that we got there was surprising to some, but remember, look at this sell-off. That was a dramatic sell-off. This was not a huge dramatic rally. We were up 2%, right? So we did gap up, and we had a nice rally. Gaps do not always get filled, and we left a gap behind down here around 20,000. Will we fill it? I don't know. Maybe we fill it in a year. Maybe we fill it in 10 years. Who knows? Maybe we fill it tomorrow. Maybe even tonight. We're not sure. But we did break through this 20,100 zone, and it's just a nice rally, nice trend day. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on where you are at and depending on how you are as a trader, we gapped up, and this rally happened overnight. So that's why I'm saying, unfortunately, fortunately, is that it's very fortunate for the traders who were up and were able to take advantage of this during the London session, during the slow market session. And it's unfortunate for the traders who was waiting for the New York session, because most of the move was made overnight, pre-market, before New York session even opened up. And so we could see so on the daily chart. And look how beautiful it was. Gap up, broke out of this nice resistance, and it was off to the races. We came up. We didn't. We feel that gap? We filled that gap. Yeah, I would say that's good enough for me. This gap right here that I've been looking at, the high was basically 412. I would say that it was filled. I would put my check mark and say, was this gap filled? Yes. This gap is no longer relevant. And I'm looking at this and saying this is a nice resistance zone. So, this has been support. It's, currently acting as resistance today. And yeah, I'm not surprised that we're seeing resistance. I would love to see a nice pullback, maybe a pullback. I don't know. Can we see a pullback all the way down to these 160s, these mid 20,100s? I don't know. That would be a decent pullback. 1.25%. That might be asking a little too much for a pullback. I wouldn't be. Yeah, I need a pullback. I need a pullback to be a buyer of this market. I don't know what else there is to do up here. Maybe if you're looking for a short, that could be a possibility. Where do you short this market? How would you control the risk? And what would you look for? I'm looking at this as a 1 hour chart. And sure, this could be a reasonable option to be shorting this market with controlled risk, maybe shorting up in this zone and then having a stop loss above the previous day high, a stop loss at these 420s, and then looking to target. I would dare say a decent target would be in these lower 200s, 230s, 240s. And looking for, I wouldn't be surprised. That's kind of where the market hesitated. You could see back here on March 10th, this was resistance before. So there is some structure here. And if we're looking at this tonight, that's kind of where it's kind of the New York session where we sold off. Not New York session. This is pre-market. This is pre-market right around these 220s. I wouldn't be surprised if we do get down here in this zone. I would be looking for longs. So if you are short biased, if you are looking to sell this market, you can see we got this nice, beautiful 3-bar reversal during power hour. And so maybe there's an opportunity to short and then use this as an area as risk management. Or maybe you put a sell limit, where traders are saying, and I'm one for this, your stop loss is a better entry. And so maybe the market does something where we run stops up here into these lower to mid 400s, and then we get a pullback. So I wouldn't be surprised on that one. You can see where we've done it a few times back here during that sell-off, where we run stops up here into these 400s, and then we look for that pullback for the short side. I would love to see that. If I am going to short this market, that's what I want to see. I want to see a run of stops and then a reversal. Maybe as a trader, you can say that what we got during power hour was the run of stops, where we just ran the last hour and then sold off. I wouldn't even say that was the last hour. That was like the last 5 minutes, right? If we zoom in, that basically occurred during MOC. That was a run of liquidity, ran some stops during MOC, and then we just sold off. And now we're kind of just basically where we were for most of the day during this New York session, these 350s chopping around most of the New York session. And so, yeah, it's just a tough one. It's a tough one. It's always a tough one. It seems like I'm saying that quite often. I love the fact that we've slowed down. The volatility has decreased, and we're not seeing these crazy 100-point moves as often and as dramatic as we have seen the past month or two. And so I will like to see this market pull back. How far? It's anybody's guess. And remember, we still have this gap. I'm not going to plan that this gap fills it. Was it Anne-Marie or maybe it was Eddie? Somebody was asking me during the day show was, when does this gap become relevant? And for me, I think if we do start to sell off, and the closer we get to this gap, obviously, the more relevant it becomes. And so if we do get down here towards this 20,100 and we start to break down, then this gap will become relevant. I'm not a trader that says the gaps have to be filled. However, if the market does start to approach a gap, then there could be a trade setup, just like the one that we seen back in the beginning of March, where we started to approach this gap, this weekly gap. And once we got there, these 350s, then the trade was to fill that gap. Unfortunately, today, that gap did not get filled until power hour. So if there was that trade to play for that gap fill, it happened really fast during the last 10, 15 minutes of the trading session. So I'm one for pullbacks. I'm one for buying the dip. I think the market has now transitioned. I'm not going to be one to say the market's bottom. We trade what the market's and we trade what's in front of us. And as of right now, we are making higher lows. We're making higher highs. This market in the past couple weeks is bullish. And for me, it's buying this dip. If we get a dip, I would be a buyer. If we could get this pullback, I'm going to look for opportunities to buy it. Maybe we look for something like this. Is this a possibility? Could this be? Maybe we're looking for something, some type of a trend, some type of a channel to form. And so who knows? Maybe we have some crazy sell-off. Maybe we get some type of pullback for us to be a buyer. But we are, that actually looks pretty decent, to be honest. We made it up here towards 400. And so we'll see what happens. I don't want to be a buyer up here. I would rather be a seller, maybe looking for some short-term scalps to the downside. I would rather be patient, rather wait, continuing to waiting for better setups, waiting for better, trade opportunities. Not much going on outside of that, right? And if we take a look at the news, we take a look at any data coming out. Today is the 24th. However, we're going into the 25th price action. So we're now into Tuesday's price action. Overnight, we have some news from German news, new home sales in the morning, consumer confidence in the morning. And other than that, not much. There's always Fed speakers coming out, always the risk of, some random headline, tariffs, right? Talk about tariffs. It seems like tariffs is less of an impact and it's not as dramatic as it used to be when someone mentions tariffs. We're not seeing, 200-point swings in either direction, especially to the downside. But other than that, pretty calm. Some GDP coming out on the 27th. And maybe just a nice smooth week until we get until the 28th, and that's when we have PCE, and that's where we could start seeing some more volatility. And then, of course, going into the Trump tariff deadline is going to be a big one. March is already coming to an end. March has came and gone so freaking fast, and price action tonight. I don't know. We're down 0.1%. Not really much. Maybe an opportunity to buy going up into these. It's just messy price action. I would be okay with a long playing this consolidation. It looks like we are holding maybe a push up to these 57s. But talking about volatility, just this. 20 points is the range for tonight. So we're continuing to see a decrease in volatility from where we opened up. It doesn't even look like, this is the range for tonight. From high to low was 30 points. We were seeing that in minutes during that increased, crazy volatility. So continuing to see the volatility decrease 30 points. This is back to regular price action. If we take a look at the ATR, I'm curious to see what that looks like. It's been going down, right? Average true range. We take a look at that ATR, and then we'll take a look at these other markets. Let's look at this. Average true range. Look how small it was today, right? Decreasing, slowly decreasing. Look at today. That was very, very light in terms of volatility. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. Back down into normal market conditions. So I'm not surprised. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. Yeah, back to normal trading conditions. We're still a little higher than what we typically see. So if you got used to this market being volatile, get used to it again. Get used to it being not as volatile. Adjust. We always have to be adjusting. And we just did. We did just get a bounce. Anyway, let's move on to these next markets, and then we'll get to some Q&A. Let's take a look at crude oil. Got to refresh. Let's get back into here. We'll take a look at crude oil. I'm going to be quick. I haven't been trading crude, and I haven't been trading these other markets very often. So I might not have too much to say. Crude oil. It's been bullish now since we kind of bottomed out. Well, let's look at the daily. You already missed this volatility. a lot of traders already missed this volatility. So I think crude could be in this range. We could be stuck in a range for a while in crude again. I mean, these lows, these 65s, maybe we come back up into these, maybe test 70, but I'm not going to be surprised if we push back down into those lower 60s. It is coming summer, spring and summer, and so maybe there's some seasonality at play here in crude oil that could push this market a little bit higher, but don't want to be a buyer up here, and I would be okay with some shorts here in crude oil. I would be okay with that on the short side. Let me look at the hourly chart. Hourly chart. Yeah, hourly chart's not looking too bad. Looking for some short opportunities. I don't know if you don't want to draw a trend line traders. It's maybe some opportunities to short crude for a push or a leg lower. Okay, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on really quick. Nikkei. Oh man, Nikkei is a beautiful long setup. What are we at in the Nikkei? We're up 0.25%. Maybe there's some opportunities here for the Nikkei. It's the Japanese market. Is this a cup and handle where we could make an argument to say cup and handle right here? And if we do get a nice breakout of this, okay, look at my drawing skills. That needs to be improved. Maybe if we get a breakout of this resistance zone, can we see a leg higher? Maybe we can see a push back up towards 39,000. 39,000 here. That's looking bullish to me. I would not be surprised because we know when this market starts to rally, it gets a lot of momentum behind it. I mean, the first level I do see is going to be up here in this, what is this? The 38,300s. So we got to see 38,000 tonight. Breakup is going to be around 37,970s. Looking pretty good for the longs here in this market. Bullish. I haven't placed a trade in it for a while. If we do continue to see decent price action, I would be considering trading this market. It's been a while since I traded it. We'll see if maybe we get a nice little pullback and an option to buy it. Does currency trading, especially euro dollar, appeal to you? Thank you. Let me cover gold and then I'll talk about currencies because you have currency futures. We have currency futures here at Topstep. Buy the dip on gold. Coach Hoop, where are you at? This could be an opportunity to get in long on gold. Gold's been buying the dip for quite a while. We are getting one here for the past few days, and it's been selling off. However, could this be a nice bottoming pattern if we could break above these 30,020s and look for this market to move a little bit higher? Possibly. I would be okay with that. This was a major resistance. Resistance became support not once, but twice. And maybe we make a run back up to these 30s. I like longs on gold. I mean, buying the dip, it's really hasn't changed. Of course, we got a pullback. And do we need more of a pullback in gold for it to continue higher? I mean, I would think it would have pulled back a little bit more, but we're holding. I wouldn't be surprised for a long. How do you draw boxes? These drawing tools over here in Topstep X. So I've gotten used doing this every night. I've gotten better at doing it. Anyway, let's take a look at Nasdaq. We are pushing higher. I mean, with hindsight, yeah, that was a long here on the Nasdaq. 10, 15 points if that's tradable for you. Now, let's get to these questions. First, I want to answer one of the traders asking about currency, asking about Forex. Yes, we can trade currency here. It's you can see this list of currency futures. You know, Australian, micro Australia. There's plenty of currency futures that you can trade. It's been a long time since I traded currency, since I traded Forex. But yes, you can trade it here. What is it in currency? What is it in Forex or currency? It's pips, right? They're called pips. Is it like the fourth or the fifth one? It's pips. A full one is was it $10 a pip? Oh man, this is bringing me back when I first started trading a long time ago. Pips seems like the holy grail. I don't know what you're referring to on that. A pipit. It's a pip, right? A pip, and this is the euro dollar. Is it a pip the fourth decimal place? The 10, like what's tens, hundred, thousandths, 10,000ths? 10,000ths is a pip, and is it $10 per pip? Let me know in the chat. I don't think it's changed for a while. I'm halfway tempted to, let's just test it, I guess. We're going to buy market one. Okay, it's Dakota and the Pippets. Pip, tick, same thing, easy math. I'm looking, and this is showing $6.25 per tick. $6.25 per tick. Interesting. It's been a long time. It's been a very long time since I played around with Forex, with currency futures. But yeah, we have that here. And you can see I'm not a currency trader. And there's definitely different lingo in different markets, right? One contract of 6E is equivalent to 1.25 lots. Ooh, interesting. Andrew knew that. So that makes sense then. If you're long one, it's 1.25, 1.25. So you can see I don't trade currency futures or currency futures. I have a little bit of a Forex background. Just a little bit. Anyway, back to the NASDAQ. Back to my home field advantage here in the NASDAQ. And so far, it's holding. It's holding. These buyers are wanting to push it up. If we can get a break, if we get a break to the new high of days, can we break through these 67s? If we see 67s, I could see 74s. I could see this. Oh, well, dang, that happened really fast. That happened really fast. We are already at session highs, and that happened within a blink. We could zoom in and see that breakout. New session highs. Can we take a run at these 79s? 79s to 75s, possibly, and then maybe we make a run at 400. Maybe we make a run at 400 tonight. That could be. That's not a long shot. Make another run at 400 where we ran during the last 10 minutes of power hour. That's possible. And back to the NASDAQ. Let's get to some more of these questions. Do you see the market consolidating the next few days before going higher? MB, I don't know. The market's bullish. The market is been going higher today. There was a lot of momentum. Short squeeze. Can you chalk it up to a little bit of a short squeeze today? I could say, yeah. There's a lot of traders, you can imagine, who is short. So this is just not, we never know exactly what's going on in this market, but here's an idea. When the market gaps like this, there's probably a lot of traders who are in a short. And when the market gaps, they're definitely looking to try and close out their position. And everybody, not everybody, but there's a lot of traders who is short in this consolidation. And when the market opened during the New York session, it opened clear up here. That's quite the long way. And so when the market opened, you can imagine there was a lot of traders trying to get out of their short positions. And so you can say that there was a bit of a short squeeze for a lot of traders, not just in the NASDAQ, but in a lot of markets, right? We're talking about individual stocks. We've seen Tesla was up like 10% at one point. So the question is, does this continue? Is there going to be a lot of money just flowing into these markets now that we're starting to see some buyers come in, and traders are going to be like, wow, okay, we're no longer in this bearish trend, and we can see a lot of money coming into this market looking at this to see, maybe we just continue higher. I don't know. Everyone was talking about this downtrend for quite the while, and we broke out of it, and now we're starting a bullish trend. Could that be a possibility? I don't know. Maybe we see some consolidation like we've seen here before we move higher. But a lot of this is just there's a lot of guessing, right? There's a lot of guessing. If anybody knew for sure, they would make millions and millions of dollars. But there's a lot of fresh money, a lot of new traders coming in. It's nice to see a green day and a breakout day for once that's not followed by a major sell-off. Last time we've had days like this have been followed by big sell-offs. So only time will tell. And with the power of hindsight, we'll be able to tell a lot better. Let's look at Bitcoin now that traders are bringing this up. Is Bitcoin rallying? Bitcoin not having as good of a day as the Nasdaq, but this is interesting. It's in a similar channel. It's in a similar channel as the Nasdaq. So maybe we do get some. Maybe we're primed for a little bit of a test of the bottom channel. And yeah, I don't trade Bitcoin, but that's an interesting idea. I don't know why I'm on that. I should be sticking to the 1 hour chart. Okay, back to the Nasdaq, and get some questions. Does anyone see a long on gold? I see 3-bar reversal and a strong support. Yeah, if you tuned in like 5 minutes ago, I talked about gold. I talked about gold on it being bullish and being a buy the dip opportunity, possibly, where we bottomed out at this area, and we just bottomed out again, maybe. And if we do break above these 20s, I could see us rotate back up, maybe to these 30s. I did not buy some Bitcoin. Nope, I did not buy Bitcoin. I was a little hesitant, and hesitation did not pay off this time. I was looking to buy Bitcoin, and unfortunately, I did not get any. Why I see red P&L? You already took a trade in Asia? Nope. If this is just this practice account, and I was showing traders an euro dollar, and I was seeing how much the value a tick was on the euro dollar. The currency future. Dakota, what tips do you have for knowing when to stop trading? Today I hit a good trade up $200, but then I ended giving it back right up to the markets. How do I avoid this? Lockout features. See this? Let's go to these lockout features. Personal daily loss limit. You have your max number of trades per day. I would recommend this. This is a very nice feature. If you have like 2 or 3 trades, and you only know you have 2 or 3 trades, you're going to make those trades. You're going to follow that process. As soon as you place those trades, you're done. I hear time and time again about some of the better traders. They're limiting themselves to less than 5 trades per day. Don't overtrade. And they're using and utilizing these risk management features pretty often. It's nice to know. It's nice to see. And remember, social media can mess with a lot of traders and their mindset and the way they view these markets. $200 a day is plenty. What was that quote? I saved that quote. If you missed it, I got an amazing quote today that I wanted to share. Let me just pull it up. I saved it on my phone. It was, oh man, it was one of the better quotes that I heard. I don't know if it came from somewhere else, but I tell you what, Riker. I was on with Riker during Rising Stars, and this is the quote. I don't know where he got it, or if he got it, or if it was from here. It says he makes less than what he wants, but more than what he needs. So less than I want, but more than I need. And that is a beautiful quote. You can see I have my list of quotes that I have here that I always save. And that it's just so beautiful. I was going to make a post. I think I'm going to make a nice post about it because it's very important. Is traders always want more. Traders always want more. And you see the shiny stuff on social media and yesterday's best and top and the big board and all this. And that's what you want, right? That's what we want as traders. We want to make, $10,000 a day. We want to make lots of money. But then what we need is a completely different story. And yeah, maybe as a trader, all you need is $50 a day, and that will pay a lot of your bills. $50 a day could, some places around this world, you can make a good living off $50 a day on top of what you're currently doing. So yeah, big shout out to him. Like that was a beautiful quote. And I think it's going to be a quote that I'm going to be referencing a lot. There's so many good gems that I've been getting from other traders here on Topstep TV and just being in this trading community. That was $1 million quote for 2025. Yes, it is. It is. I mean, you can't put a price tag on a quote like that. And, oh, okay. I just got this too. In the YouTube chat, in the pin to the YouTube chat, let's just go ahead and pin this. Let's pin that. On the top of the YouTube chat, there is the 150K giveaway. So if you missed it on Topstep TV, they had it all day, and I'll have it in slow markets all night as well. It's still open. Just click on the link, and then you could pick your favorite Topstep VIP coach. I would recommend pick someone that maybe you haven't heard from. Pick somebody that maybe you're more interested to learning about. I would recommend go ahead and pick somebody. I mean, learn it, right? Education. You can't really put a price tag on education. I have a lot of cheeky remarks regarding that and what traders expect, right? There goes a quote. It might not be what you want, but it's more than what you need. It could be the same applied for that. Same with marshmallows, right? Traders who are wanting more than just that. Maybe this is exactly what they need. Maybe that's what maybe you do need a little bit of a training session with a different coach. Maybe you need to take a step back from the markets and not go through combine after combine after combine. So what you want and what you need might be two different things. I better stop there before I start getting into more cheeky quotes and get myself in trouble. Who is a good coach for mathematically gifted, indisciplined traders? Let me think. I could do you guys want some coach recommendations? So I'm not going to recommend myself because you guys have me for slow markets. You have me for slow markets, 4 or 5 days of the week. You have me on Topstep TV. So I'm not going to recommend myself as a coach. I would honestly, if I had a recommendation, I would say, oh man, that's a hard one. That's such a hard one. I would recommend that signing up for a coach that you don't see on Topstep TV. I would say, Jack is a good one. Jack, Ray, Vince, Robert, Hoop. I don't know. That's so hard. Not me though. I wouldn't recommend myself. I really wouldn't. There's a big list on there. It's hard. How do you pick, right? How do you pick? Let me. That list is bigger than what. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look. I'm gonna look and see. Coach Jack Senior. I would vote. Coach Jack Senior. I would love to hear from him, but you can't. It's so hard to pick. Pick from somebody that maybe you haven't heard from. That would be my recommendation. Yeah, that's a good one. It's so hard. D has really good discipline, very different from myself, very organized, very systematic. Yeah. You want Dobie or Andre? You get Dobie and Andre on Topstep TV during the day. I'm definitely recommending someone that you don't see as frequently to get from a different perspective. It's always good to see a different perspective. Read their bios. It might help. Yeah, Coach Hoop. Good call. Good shout out on that one. Rusty golfer. Back in the day, Topstep did calls. I had a call with Jack Sr. He is awesome. I'd choose MP if he was on there. Hoop is a cattle and a scalper. I picked Coach Paul. I chose Hoax. Nothing beats experience. I tell you what, experience. Nothing does beat experience, right? I want Johnny Sins. I want Eddie, but no. You get Eddie on Topstep TV and, at the bell, pre-market. Like I said, I strongly recommend choosing some of those coaches that you don't see every single day to get a little piece of what these coaches have to offer. I've learned a lot. Coaching cannot be overstated. It really can't. Nasdaq's pushing up into these highs again. Trade it, don't speak it. This is just looking like we could keep going to 400. I could see us getting to 400. Choose a coach that has a live account. You can learn from that one. It doesn't even have to be a coach with a live. Some of the best information doesn't always come from someone sitting here in front of you trading a live account. No. Here's something I always wondered. In college, you have professors that is teaching these college courses, and my business professor, right, teaches the ins and outs of business. Very, very educational on how to run a business and some of the laws and just in general about business. And I learned so much from him. And he did not own his business. He did not own a business. He was a college professor. And sometimes, that was just a weird thing to wrap my head around, that it's like, wow, you have some amazing college professors with tons and tons of, education, maybe a doctorate's degree, and they choose to teach it, whether they're wanting to, I don't know, but there's definitely something to that. Easier to be a professor. That's one of the biggest things I ponder sometimes is IQ and money. Some of the higher IQ people that I run into might not be making the most money. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to anybody here? Is you have some of the smartest people, and some of the smarter people are living pretty modest. IQ and money doesn't go exactly correlated. Yeah, those who can't do can teach for a reason. Yeah, it's not like a end all be all where everybody who can't do teach, but it's a quote for a reason. There's some. I'm going to be honest. There's some very low IQ people that happen to have quite a bit of money. Professor trading hindsight capital. Yeah, sometimes it's passed down. Sometimes that is definitely passed down. It's common for smart people to overthink too much and don't risk and take. I tell you what, some of the happiest people I know are on the lower end of the smarts. Higher IQ or risk diverse. Money is correlated to the number of people, X, how much they pay you. Emotional intelligence is perfect. Keep it simple. I gotta keep watching what I say. Make sure I don't say anything silly. Ignorance is bliss. I tell you what, sometimes you see people and they're the happiest people you know, and you just wish, like, man, sometimes I wish I didn't know some of the things I do. Yeah, blissful ignorance is real. I have a 150 IQ. Nikkei longs, do you see an entry? Let's take a look at the Nikkei. I was talking about a long earlier. I mean, possibly. I don't see an exact trade setup. Let me look into a 5-minute chart. We're at 880. It's hard for me to buy up here. Like I said, I like pullbacks and then maybe a breakout of a pullback, but not liking too much. NASDAQ kind of just consolidating here in these 60s. This is slow markets. This is how slow markets typically is. More slow than what we've been seeing. And we'll talk about some overnight trades, but I'm answering some questions. We'll talk some overnight trades. If you have an engineering degree, why? Why, Tyler? I do not use Bookmap. Dakota, do you know a very famous story about Thales Millet, the Greek philosopher and money? I might have. I'm better at referencing the stories than the exact names. I'm horrible with names. Apparently my IQ is off the chart. I just can't even tie my shoes. Chat, you guys never fails to entertain me. Never fails to be entertaining. I'd rather be dumb and buff. I'd rather be hey, some of the smartest people I know do not have a college education. AI Blacklock says the best indicator is fading Dakota. Well, I hope that indicator works out for you. I've got puts on my IQ. Dumb and happy. That's the goal. That is the goal. Not really much going on these. Let's take a look and see about. Let me look at this higher time frame. I don't even see slow markets trades tonight. I don't see any decent slow market trades tonight. Honestly, the only trade I could see, we could put this on this slow market account. This would be an idea. It's an idea. Remember, it's not a signals class. Let's take a look at that 1 hour chart, and then we'll get back to some Q&A and having fun with the chat. I could see possibly putting a sell limit up here near these highs. That could be a trade. I'm going to do this in this account. Like I said, I didn't get that reset here so that I could turn this into a pure slow markets and we could start reviewing the statistics. But this is definitely a slow markets trade. This is a sell limit maybe up here into these mid 430s. I'm looking at this as resistance, and if we come up and test this resistance area, I'm going to do this on MNQ, and let's just do this as purely an example. So if I am going to get into a trade and I'm going to short this market, I would be okay with doing something like this, doing a sell limit. We'll do 1 micro. I want my stop to be above these 520s. So sell limit 520s. Let's just say we're going to risk 100 points. And in a micro, that's $200, correct? Micros, $200. So we'll go over here into these risk settings. Risk, $200. Make sure that's good. And then a take profit. Let's take a look at the take profit. I could definitely see this market during the New York. So let's see if we could get a decent pullback. Oh, let's take a look. I'm just going to draw a line. So if the risk is going to be 520s, it's a 1-to-1 risk reward would be reasonable. 1-to-1 risk reward. That's not too bad, to be honest. That's not too bad of a trade. I'm going to go ahead and do that. 1-to-1 risk reward on this type of a setup. Go in here, put a $200 take profit, $200 stop loss. And this is in micros. This is definitely in micros. And so what I'll do is I'll put a sell limit up into these right up into these upper 420s. Put a sell limit, and the risk settings should put 200, and that would be kind of a slow market trade idea and give you a good example of how to do it here into this brackets, risking 200 to make 200, 1-to-1 risk reward. And when I place that limit order, sell limit order here on the micros, as soon as it gets triggered, there would be a stop loss at minus 200, which this is micros, it's $2 a point. If I'm risking 200 points, my stop loss would be up here around 528. So 528 would be my stop loss. And my take profit would be activated. It's going to be around 328. So back down towards, that's a very reasonable target down here on these lows that we've been, holding during the New York session for quite a while. So something like that. If I was going to short this market, now remember, this is purely an example. This is not a trade where I'm going to be taking it. This is just purely a setup. Another one is having the same stop loss, same take profit, but maybe you put your sell limit up a little higher, closer into these wicks, into that order, to saying, if we get to 466, then I'll look for a short. Who knows if this will play out overnight, but we have been seeing plenty of volatility overnight session. But this is a good example of how I would typically set up a slow markets trade. And like I said, I'm going to have this account reset so I can only do slow market trades in this account. This is a coach's account. I can't get funded. It's for educational purposes only. Like I said, just like a teacher would be doing a math problem on the whiteboard, that's what I like to do here in the Combine, in this simulated account for everybody, so we could all look and see, how do you put a bracket order? How do you put your risk? How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you place the slow markets order? We had a lot of volatility overnight. The question a lot of traders ask, wow, overnight we went up to 300 points. There's opportunity overnight in the Asian session, in the London session. And just because you have a job, just because you might work or you have other responsibilities during the New York session, doesn't mean you don't have to trade. Trading is definitely possible in the futures market overnight. It's being able to place orders, take advantage of the market movement. It doesn't matter whether it's done in 5 minutes during the New York session scalping, or it's done in 2 or 3 hours during slow markets or while you sleep. The order I just went through is definitely an order that you could place. You could go to bed, you could wake up, you can manage the order. Whether you're, Topstep is an international company, and so we have traders from Australia, China, Japan, everywhere. And yes, definitely, maybe you're working, and when you work, it's a different time of day. Maybe you have to sleep during the New York session, and the only time you're awake is during the Asian and London session. Shout out to Coach D. She trades the London session, and a lot of times she'd be sleeping. Yeah, there's a lot. Netherlands here. Philippines when it's 2:30 at night. Short King. It is bright and early for you. Very late for you. Australia, it's 2:24 for you. Yeah, see, different time zones for traders around the world. And that's kind of what I designed the slow markets around. I haven't talked much about it because we've had some crazy volatility. And I think it was, kind of ill-advised when the markets were going crazy and was getting some random 100-point moves during headlines. But I think I'm going to start getting back to that, back to where I was going to before I went on vacation and focused on this slow markets account, so we can review these statistics, review them daily, review the overnight trades, set up overnight trades together as a class for examples, so that we could learn to become better traders and take advantage of overnight price action. And who knows, maybe this market's changed. Maybe I'm just a horrible trader, and we're going to find that out together going back to these slow markets. I've been focused so much on the fast markets, so much during the New York session. It's been a while placing trades overnight, so getting back into the rhythm. These markets are going back to normal, whatever you call normal, slower, less volatile, and we'll see if we can get it done here together. Is my reality too? I want to do that for the rest of my life, but in the New York session, I'm in work. Yes. That's how I learned how to trade. I woke up, I went to college and school, high school, and after high school, after college, I do homework or went and hung out with friends. And then right before bed, about this time, maybe a little bit later, I only had 1 or 2 hours to myself to try and trade. And everything that I learned on YouTube, everything I learned from traders, the quote day trader was technically during the day, right? The New York session is the day traders. But I wanted to become a day trader, but I couldn't because I was going to school. And I couldn't because the only time I had available was this time at night, right before I go to bed. And that's how I learned. I said, let's do it. I'm going to place orders. I'm going to leave them run overnight and see if I can become a day trader. And then one thing led to another. I got a part-time job. So even after, high school, even after college, I still didn't even have the New York session free because I was still doing part-time college and I was working part-time as well. And so I still couldn't day trade the New York session. So I reverted to that. And then obviously one thing led to another. Trading's been my full-time job. Trading is my full-time job. It's been my full-time job for quite a while now. And I've been, blessed and lucky enough to be able to go through those ups and downs to now it's one of my primary sources of income. 95% of traders, same, don't feel bad or feel worse. Are we going to see NQ hit 20,400? We already seen it hit 20,400 during the last 10-15 minutes of the New York session. Right, let's get to some more of these questions. We have 30 minutes left. 30 minutes. It's been a nice slow market. Nothing's been too crazy, to be honest. I seen one trade set up that I did miss a little bit. I talked about it. I didn't trade it. It was long here in the micro, in the Nasdaq, micro, mini, whatever, in the Nasdaq for a push up into those 70s. I'm not really seeing too much. I'm not seeing anything else. Is the Nikkei selling off though? Do we see a setup here in the Nikkei? Can we see a buy the dip? Buy the dip here? Oh, that's tempting. It's tempting, but you remember these sell-offs, whenever the Nikkei picks a direction, we can see some very big movements here. So I'm going to elect not to place a trade. And it looks like we are rejecting these highs. And so the question is, are we going to see something that we seen back here on March 18th? These sell-offs, right? I like to do these average moves. These average moves play really well. If you guys, this is a little gem that I talk about relatively often. Coach Jay knows I talk about it. Like these are... This is another thing why I just love markets is it's not like rocket science where they're exact, but look at this, like 1, 2, 3, 4 moves. I mean, you could even make an argument to say 5 moves, and they're pretty dang close, right? We can measure these, and we could say, yeah, when this market, doesn't matter what market you're analyzing, these markets measured moves. Pretty accurate when it comes to good estimates and say when this market moves on average, that's about what it is. And so you can say that we've moved that and it makes sense that we're getting a sell-off. And you could do the same thing when the market is selling off. And you say, well, what's the average move when we do get a sell-off and we get a pullback or whatever you're looking to analyze here? And you could say, well, if we're in the middle of one right now, it's not unrealistic. See this market coming back down to this 37,400s, and we are seeing a move pretty violent, to be honest. This is quite the move here. So yeah, that's something I typically look at, and it gives us at least gives me a good idea about where we are in this market, what I'm looking at, and helps me understand. And that's what I was doing on the Nasdaq. And taking from an extreme side, I don't know if you want to measure these extreme moves, saying from top to bottom, and depending on how you want to measure it, I don't know. This is an interesting one. How you want to measure these moves, because everyone would look at these moves a little bit different, right? There is some discrepancy, or some discrepancy. There's some whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you want to call it. I just lost my train of thought. There's some I don't know. I can't think of what the heck I was just going to say. Yeah, I don't know. Not discretion. Yeah, thanks, Nate. Some discretion when measuring this. And so maybe that's what we got here. Discretion. That's the word I was looking for. On measuring these moves, and so maybe we got one here in the Nasdaq. I mean, if you take one of the bigger moves and you measure it, it's like, well, kind of there. I'm having a senior moment. Yeah, a senior moment. I get it. Discretion. So maybe if we measure, this is a big move. This is a big swing. So, that's the biggest swing that I've seen. And, can we measure that? Sure. From top to bottom, that's a decent move. And if we just look at relative from this move, that's a 4% move without any pullbacks. Well, it depends on what you define as a pullback, but from bottom to the top, that's 4%, 800 points. 800 points. And then even if we measure from the bottom of this NASDAQ is up 5.5% from its low back here in March 10th. March 13th. So we're up 5.5%. And then if we do put that even in, zooming out even further, how far are we off from all-time highs? We're right at 10%. We're 10% from all-time highs. So interesting spot for sure. We're always in interesting levels. I'm not seeing too much else in these markets. Think we're just filling the gap on the 1 hour? We're always filling some gap somewhere. There's always gaps to be filled. 50K account can trade the Nikkei as far as I know, but I'm suggesting not trading the Nikkei on a 50K account. Go looking to long after a pullback. Where's gold at? What's gold doing? It's looking bullish. I like longs on gold here. At least until, maybe we do break down through those. Next consolidation range at current price. What market are you talking about? How did you learn to trade options, coach? Tasty Trades is where I learned how to trade options when Tasty Trade Radio. It's been a long time for there. I learned the Greeks in junior high. I joined the gang. I joined the Theta gang in middle school. I joined the Theta gang in middle school. Can you quickly show the ES break? Yeah. Oh, I'll have to look at that later. What is the ticker for the pound yen? Like I said, if you type in 6 here, you can see most of these. I don't know if this is all of them, but you have this. Look, here's the pound, Japanese yen, Swiss franc, New Zealand. Nice frat boy. Yeah. The initiation into the options were something else. I even trade. Oh, what was that one? Binance. Anybody in here remember Binance? Let me look at this. Binary options. Oh, when they first came out. Okay, I'm Googling this. We're going. I'm going down that rabbit hole. Let's look at this. I want to see if my email's still there. Binance. Oh, wow. I'll give you a date. I'll give a date here. This 2000. Oh, there's some from 2017. It's binary options. Is binary? Yeah, I'm referring to binary options here. Going through this. Okay. Oh wow. Yeah, this was a long time. I remember one trade I had in Binance, and it was in like currency. It was in like the euro dollar, and I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I paid for like $300 for it was like an hourly option. Nadex. Yes, that's what it was. Thank you. Good call. Good shout out, Greg. Nadex. Nadex 2016. Okay, where is this? So I paid like $200 for an hourly option that was expiring, binary option, and it was just way out of the money, just so out of the money. And then some random headline hit, and I made $10,000, and I was hooked. That's kind of what hooked me, and I don't know what happened. I'm gonna have to look. This is 2016. This is 2016. Let's go. I'm going through. I'm reading some stuff. I'm reading some stuff in this Nadex. Wow, that is a throwback to memory lane. Throwback to memory lane. I wish I still had that email. Let's see if I could find it. All mail. Nadex. I'll post it. I'll post it if I can remember. It was just some insane. I didn't know what I was doing. I put $200 in a binary option that expired in an hour, and it was insane. It was $200. Jay's AirPods. $200. Risk was $200, and I ended up making $10,000. And it's like a binary option. There's price from 0 to 100, and I got for like $1. But that's kind of what got me addicted to and into the options world. Yeah, it was luck. That was pure luck. Pure luck. And then I ended up giving back everything that I had left. I took it out. I paid for a trip to California, and then I lost all of it doing the same thing because I thought I could do it again. It was like, oh, I could do that again. I could do it bigger, right? If you put more money into it, the more money you're going to make. Boy, was we wrong. Everyone's done that at least a few times, especially when you're like very, very young and not knowing what the heck to do. I wish I had the email. I've got to have it around here somewhere. It's somewhere. I wish I had. I'm going to find it. And I'll show everybody in here. They probably don't even have my login information. Okay, let's see. No, I'm going to get that email and I'll show everybody. It's a story as old as time. Yep. Lightning strikes twice, only in the dreams. Coach Dakota, is having a short bias after recent trends in NQ wrong, or is it more psychological? It depends on what market and what time frame. It's okay to have a little bit of a short bias here in the NASDAQ just because we are pretty extended. And so it's okay to like have this idea that we could see a pullback. Now, the market could keep going without the idea that the market needs to pull back could be wrong because the market could just keep going and going, right? The market could stay rational longer than you can stay solvent or whatever that saying is. But having a pullback here in the NASDAQ is very healthy, especially after all of this selling pressure and the fact that we are running into a key level or a key zone back when we seen that big sell-off. So it's okay to be bearish, even though there's a lot of bullish momentum here. It's just understanding, hey, be caution. We just rallied, and there's a lot of bullish momentum. It's like there's nothing wrong with that. People are thinking about pullback when we just got out of a long pullback. What do you consider a long pullback? And like I said, it's about time frame. Traders love to give their opinions, but it really is about time frame. A pullback for somebody on a 4-hour chart is different from a pullback on somebody trading a 1-minute chart, right? A pullback on a 1-minute chart. Look, we've had 3 pullbacks already just while I've been talking, compared to somebody that's on a daily, depending on whatever time frame that you're referring to. So yeah, it depends on your time frame. It depends on what you're looking at, and yeah, what is a pullback to you? Trade what you see, not what you think. I struggle with it all the time. I struggle with it just as much as the next person. Trading what you think can get you in trouble. It gets me in trouble. Doomlord says that's the hook. Was this a big market correction? Was what is this? Nicole, what is this? Anybody tuning in and asking questions, please put context. Please put context. Remember, I'm reading these questions and I do not know what you reference. Most of the time, I do not know what traders are referencing in the YouTube chat. I cannot read minds, so please put a reference. Should I take a guaranteed payout or wait to grow my balance so I don't have a small drawdown? That depends, Munza. It's always great to pay yourself, but if you're taking a payout and it's going to change the way you trade, I would advise against it. You don't want to take a payout so big you change the way you trade. You want to follow the same process no matter what. It's process over profits. Process over profits. I'm actually seeing a breakout here in the Nasdaq that I am liking. A break to the long side. There's just not enough meat left on this bone. Looking for a push into these 400s. I mean, we could definitely see the longs play out. It's 10 points. I could see 10 points here. Yeah, the breakout trade's basically long in this zone where we're at, playing for a break into, 10 points. I could see up into these 84s. Just do it. Just do it. Even after tariffs news earlier in the market, barely budge. I'm guessing we're going to be bullish. Not a possible head and shoulders in the 15. I will tattoo process over profits yet this year. Process over profits. I'm going to let's see how that one plays out. Buy the upper end for a breakout. Stop loss 358s. Stop loss. So if this is consolidation, playing for a break of consolidation, stop loss on the opposite side of the consolidation. We've seen PMI data been bullish, but caution still exhibits. Short 20, 380, calling it now at 9:44 p.m. Okay, Zane. Someone's saying short 380, calling it now. You're looking at the New York session, regular trading. 380. What's at 380? What's at 380? You're calling that short. Is this just some random number or what? There's 14 contracts there. Dakota, do you ever trade off the previous day's value? 70% day recession. Not really. Just basic support and resistance. That's basically it. Of course, yesterday's highs and yesterday's lows and key levels tend to be support and resistance. And if the market respects it, then yes, I guess you could technically say I will trade that. Lafta, Topstep is having its studio. If you tune into Topstep TV, we've talked about it before. Topstep is in the works with a studio, trading floor, Airbnb in Chicago. You've seen, if you followed MP on the Twitterverse, on Twix, X, Twitter, you would see, the nice Airbnb right there in Chicago. Traders meetup, trading floor, studio. I'm excited for it. I'd love to see it. I have plans to fly out to Chicago this spring, early summer. Fly out to Chicago and meet up with the team, meet up with other traders, trade, have some fun there, and it's going to be great. And I plan to maybe fly down to a few different areas. Coach, can you show the colors of your charts, just default settings? Where do you see the colors? This, settings? Is this what you're referring to? Is that what you're referring to? I don't know. You could always pause and rewind if this is going too fast. I'm going to do this once. It's all green for me. I'm colorblind, so it's all green. You're having a good time here in slow markets. Why do you trade with green and red? Green is market goes up. Red means market goes down. What do you mean? What do you mean? Why do I trade with green and red? Maybe, I don't know. That's what I like. That's what I'm used to, I guess. But yeah, that's an interesting question. Can you show us the DOM of MNQ? You want to see the DOM? We could look at the DOM. Could you drive green and red? People are arguing that red distracts you from a psychological point of view. Okay. Being at break even all month is number 5 worthy. I'm on a drawdown. I'm in a drawdown. Like I said, if you tuned in, I've talked about it often. I've been in like a 50,000, a little bit less now, worth of a drawdown in my live account. And yeah. Ikaija. Oh man, I'm going to Ikaija. I'm horrible with pronouncing names. I'm a partner. I trade. I am a trader here at Topstep, and a partner who enjoys being on stream and help. And I love what I do here. But trading is first for me, and trading is my primary income. Who's the best technical coach? Ooh, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I just said I don't. It's hard for me to choose out of these coaches. I will say I'm not the best technical coach. Charles E., how do you feel about Topstep talking about putting a consistency rule on XFAs? Isn't there already one? Isn't there already one? Do you trade liquidity sweeps and imbalances? What do you mean imbalances? I like trading where people put their stops. I like getting in. You can imagine there's some stops right here. Everyone who is long might have had some stops just below there. Guess what? This market ran those stops, and now which direction's the market going? It's going up. You've been waiting on this question? I'm sorry if you're waiting on the question. You've been working on trade location and risk management. It's been very frustrating. Why? Why is that frustrating? There's a big order. Look at this order sitting here. It's sitting at the high of day. It's sitting at 375. Will it get filled? Let me look. Not really much in terms of, not much going on. Let's watch this get filled. Let's see it get filled. Topstep's so good, you have to pinch yourself sometimes. Topstep's been around for one of the longest, right? Like 2010, 2011. Goes through ups and downs. It's still here. They do the same as last night. Bait. I want to see if this one gets filled. My stop loss is at that order. Watch it not get filled, please. Oh, we can watch it not get filled. Going to put consistency on funded. They kept moving the orders last night for more than 100 points. Yeah, I didn't stay up all night. That's got to be frustrating. Why don't you... why you don't show order flow study in live market? Not sure what you mean by that. I'm a technical analysis trader. I trade the technicals on the charts. Coach Go, do you know on average how many people call up to a live accounts weekly or monthly? I do not. I do not know the internals. If you tune, and maybe this is a good reference, and I see this quite often on Topstep TV on the day show. They talk about it, and they talk about the call-ups on Topstep's X account, Topstep's Twitter. It's hard because you have Topstep's X, right? Topstep X, but Twix on Topstep's Twitter, they do post the call-ups, and whenever they call up traders, and then they post it on the day show. And I don't know the exact numbers. Could you show us how to set up the DOM? Come on. Go over here to the settings. There's all the settings on the DOM. And then you can just click this plus. There's the DOM right there. We still calling it Twitter? Yeah. Everyone still calls it Twitter anymore. Trying to be correct. Twitter, Twix. Sorts from 2 weeks ago back are underwater. Tell you what, it's hard to hold a short in this market for over a month. Shorts historically do not pay when you hold them for a long period of time. From my experience. Am I making money for dinner tonight? Not tonight. I've lost, and I'm actually we're finishing up on time. There's 100 contracts still sitting at 375, but I did not see any decent trades. There's one that I missed, and it was a long on this breakout. I missed that one. I'm not seeing anything else. Let's just do a quick review. Not seeing anything else. The Nikkei's selling off still. It's been pushing these lows. Gold looking pretty bullish on a buy the dip opportunity. Maybe if we could break through those 20s, those 3,020s. Crude oil. I'm starting to switch to be more of a bearish on crude oil. We are actually at an interesting level, right? This is a zone. So I wouldn't be surprised to get a pullback on crude. I will be on Topstep TV tomorrow morning. I've really enjoyed it. I've also, and if you guys missed it, there's that Topstep 150K giveaway for the 150K subscribers that Topstep has reached, and I've enjoyed the Rising Star segment. I was on that today, and I came out of today with a beautiful quote, right? As a day trader, I might not make as much money as I want for the day, but I make more than enough than I need. I have that quote saved on my phone. I'm enjoying it. I'm scheduled to be on this week. Who knows? Maybe I could convince them instead of a Rising Stars. Danielle, if you're listening or if you're going to watch this as recorded, could we get a Falling Stars where I bring someone on who blew up their live or combine or XFA, and we interview them? Okay, maybe I'll be part of the Falling Stars segment. That would be entertaining. Where's that too much? All right. You'll be number one on Falling Stars. Do you take live trades in the morning session? Yes. Yep. I am a live trader. If I do see trade setups and I'm not locked out of my live account, I do take live trades. I'm sitting in front of my computer. I am a trader first, and if I see a good setup, I will trade it in my live account, regardless of whether it's slow markets, fast markets in the morning, power hour, unless I'm done for the day, right? If I'm done for the day, I'll lock my account up, and that's it. What's your channel name? So this is it. This is it, everybody. You guys are tuning in. It's slow markets. I'm a partner here with Topstep, but I am active on the Twitterverse. Oh, there it is. Other than that, that's it. Falling Stars should be people who lose their live trading account. We gotta get somebody to be on for that, though. Who would have the courage to show up on stream while they're struggling? Which markets do I have better profits on? Nasdaq, 100%. Nasdaq, definitely. So, yeah. Do we speak about the 5K hat that I requested like 6 months ago? Who do I speak about? I mean, I'd reach out to the team. VIP team flow accounts effectively. Why do you not show order flow study in live? That's the second time you asked that question. I asked it right back to you. What do you mean? I am not a order flow trade. I'm a technical trader. I trade technical analysis. You see it here every single night. Every single night. Final questions. You have 2 minutes. Right trade Nasdaq over ES. It's a love-hate relationship. I like the Nasdaq. It's hard to go back away. It's hard to get away from the Nasdaq. ES is a more tame market, and I will recommend the ES over the Nasdaq for any new traders. Yeah, there you go, Sass. Coach Jay is great with trading. Rips. Thank you, Dakota. Stay blessed. Have a good night. Will you do a buzz cut? I don't know, but I do need to get a haircut, though. I'm going to end it there. See everybody bright and early tomorrow morning. Take care, everybody. Bye.